Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPA Moms podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Kale. I'm the brand ambassador of CPA Moms, and today I am talking to Nikki Bushaw for our What I've Learned series, a series of interviews with accounting professionals to learn about the real, unfiltered lessons they've learned on their journey. Nikki is a mom, a CPA, entrepreneur, and founder of Absolute Accountant. She has nearly a decade of experience running her own firm and also owns a family-run Taco Del Mar restaurant. Thank you so much for being here, Nikki. Can
Thank you
you
for having me here.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little about your journey into accounting? What drew you to the profession and just how you got started in it?
That goes back a little ways. Out of high school, I always knew I wanted to expand my education. But at that time, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. So I kind of coasted on the first couple years of college, just getting those generals out of the way, and then finally I was like, I gotta make a decision. And I literally was kind of just a roll of the dice. I said, I like numbers. What are the number careers I could get into? And for whatever reason, I landed on accounting, and then I started taking the accounting classes, and I found that I liked it and that I was pretty decent at it. And so I pursued my career in accounting, and I totally thought it was going to look different than what it does now. Um,
Let's dig into that. That sounds exciting. What did you think it would look like?
Well, I thought I was gonna do kind of the traditional, stereotypical thing as you go into the accounting profession, which is, of course, sit for the exam and take the exam, and then get into a firm and then work your way up the ladder and become a shareholder or a partner. But I found that that was not a path that aligned very well with me because I started that way. I did work for a regional firm for a while, but after I started having kids, that's, life changes a lot and your mindset changes a lot once you add the little gremlins in the mix. Um, After I had my second little boy, Nash, that's when I decided that, I wanted more flexibility for my time and for my family and how those really, really, really fast young years of your kids' lives go.
Yes.
And so I said, well, I can just do this on my own. And so after he was born, he was, I think, 3 months old when I decided to leave the firm and go out on my own. And here I am, absolutely years old, same age as Nash. So that's how I always remember when I started my business.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. That's a hard leap to take. So tell me a little bit about what got you there because I found so many women want to, but they stay stuck because it's scary. So what kind of was just the deciding factor and this isn't going to work for me. I have to do something different.
Well, I think deep down, and looking back, of course, in those moments, you don't ever really see the full clarity and the full like lesson that you were supposed to get, right? Until afterwards. That's what wisdom is. Um, but in when I was younger, I always knew I think I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Mom who worked two or sometimes three jobs trying to, raise us as a single mom. And something in me was just like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this my way and I'm gonna be successful my way and not on anybody else's terms. So I always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit within me. Um, and then as I worked in various jobs, I worked in banking and corporate and in a public firm, it never, as good as a lot of those environments were, especially for building my technical skills and for giving me mentorship from people that I really, really appreciate their guidance and wisdom, the environment never was aligned with what I truly wanted, which was the flexibility of my time and how I run my time. If I want to work at 2 o'clock in the morning because everybody else is sleeping and it's quiet in the house, I can do that. Well, a lot easier when it's my practice versus someone else's. And so when I was just in the stages of like, should I leave my job or should I and start my own? I had a lot of support from my spouse. So that was a huge thing for me too. It wasn't as scary for me because I had the love and the support and the financial backing at that time from my spouse. But for somebody who would be like a single mom, so I think about somebody like my own mom in that scenario, where it's literally like you don't have that secondary financial piece, because that's really probably the scariest piece is, can I leave this nice cushy corporate job and still make ends meet without having a spousal support? Somebody in like my mom's scenario, I would just say you have to be incredibly confident in yourself, and you have to really, really dig deep into who you are as a person and live your true authentic self. And that's easier said than done, but that's tapping into that, like, I am who I am, and this is what the gifts I have to give to the world. And really, really empowering yourself is probably one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome and has helped me along my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I love the way you said that too. And I mean, yes, being confident obviously helps. We talked about this actually not too long ago on the podcast. Is sometimes we feel like we have to already be confident and already have that, but really how you build that muscle and how you build the confidence is by taking that first step. It's like getting over the fear and just going for it because like hello, we are CPAs. Like, not everyone can be a CPA. So just that in itself should give you the confidence. And it's funny because I find so many women that they still are questioning, well, I don't know, do I have the ability to serve these clients? Can I even, do I have the smarts to do it? And it's like, yes, you earned a CPA license. Yes, you do.
Absolutely. I mean, it's equivalent, in my opinion, to sitting for the bar.
For
It's
sure.
a beast of something. And if you can pass the CPA exam, I'm not a good test taker. So, if you can pass the exam, then you can pretty much do whatever the heck it is you want.
Yes, agreed. And so those are a lot of the things I think that people think about before they start are some of the things you mentioned, financially, can I do this? Am I going to have the technical skills to do it? Some of those, I guess, tangible things. But what I found, at least in my journey, is really the biggest, I guess, changes that have to be made that I didn't even think about were mindset shifts. What were some of the most important mindset shifts that you had to make when transitioning to being a business owner?
There's nobody else who's gonna catch you, and there's nobody else you can blame other than yourself.
Yeah.
Um, it's like, crap, now I'm on my own, and I used to be able to just be like, oh, that's the shareholder, and now it's like I'm the shareholder. Um, so I think one of the biggest things is that, and I still struggle with it even now, because it's a constant like work in progress, and it's that imposter syndrome, right? It's the oh my God, they're doing this or they've got this and blah 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 blah, and I don't. How come? Blah blah blah. And you constantly question, you wonder why, and you compare. And that doesn't do anybody any good. Um, but it's hard to get out of some of those cycles sometimes. But I think just really stepping into the Dr. Seuss, you are you, and that is true. Truer than true, whatever the thing is, like, you are you. Nobody else in the whole world, no matter how much similarities you can find, you're not like anyone else, and you bring your own skill set and your own gifts to the table. And that is the one thing that has been the hardest hurdle for me to jump over. But it's been the most impactful when I finally just say, okay, I'm going to just do it Nikki's way. And it helps alleviate stress, and it helps attract more of what I'm looking for. Because in those moments when I just let myself be myself, rather than trying to be like CPA over here and, the coach over here and the wife over here, it gets, I'm living somebody else's life and not mine. And so really, really just stepping into, I am who I am, and like it or not, This is what you get, and this is what I have to offer. That's probably been the biggest mindset shift that I've had to overcome in the pathway leading to where I am today. And, always a work in progress. It's always a work in progress. I found myself the other day just being like, how come they're this, that, and this, and that, and this, and that? And then my husband's like, Nikki, that's not you. Stop comparing yourself. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to slip into the comparison game, and social media makes it like
Oh
so
gosh, yeah.
like in your face all the time that it's you have to fight not doing it.
Well, yeah, those algorithms, I'll give them that. They know their math behind the scenes. They'll definitely hit at some of those pain points.
For sure, yes. What would you say has been your biggest learning curve in running your firm?
Ooh, hands down, the people management piece of it. I love learning and I'm curious about a lot of things. So, you know, learning new technical skills, getting a letter from the IRS, I'm not scared of them. Dealing with some big reconciliation problem, easy peasy. Trying to manage the culture and the personalities of the various team members and clients has been the biggest struggle I think that I've faced in my firm, because it's definitely not a one size fits all. And it's definitely everybody's got their own personalities and their own strengths and weaknesses, and then trying to manage that melting pot of all of these different personalities is can be very challenging at times. So definitely the people management piece of it has been the biggest struggle, but I think what's helped the most with that, um, first of all, is the personal development that I've done on myself. So the more I get to know my own quirks and get to know myself on a deeper level, it helps me understand me. And then it also helps me understand how I uniquely navigate the world. And then it also helps to see that in other people. And then profiling, personality profiling. That has been a huge help too,
Mhm.
just to give me a baseline. Now, I don't want to put people in boxes with that because that's not right either. But I think that just having a baseline or a foundation of being like, this person is this type of personality. This is how I can navigate. This is how I can better communicate with them, delegate to them. That's been a huge help too. Just knowing that baseline of where my team is at. And I have actually started doing it with some clients. Some clients aren't quite on board with it and find it weird when I ask, but we're getting there. Because that only helps me understand who they are as an entrepreneur too. And, it helps me give the foundation of how do I better communicate with them? How do I better guide them as their advisor? So when I have the baseline foundation of what personality profile they are, it's been helpful in navigating and lessening the overwhelm when it comes to people management.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. Throwing in people into the mix definitely makes it interesting.
Uh-huh.
So we talked about the shift in your definition of success when you first started into accounting and then after having a family and how that changed that. How, would you say that your definition of success has changed at all since you started your practice?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I was always in the beginning of the practice, I was mostly about the metrics, the hard metrics of X, revenue, X ratio here, all of that kind of stuff, really into the math like us accountants love to do. But over the past near decade, the ideas and the KPIs that we track now are just so much different. Because yes, we still have those ones that we want to know about the actual hard dollars, because you still got to have that no matter what. But now we're tracking things like client and team satisfaction and being able to track some of that cultural building um, movement and ratios and KPIs, which is a lot harder to get those data and that metrics. But The way success looks to me now is less about monetary financial. I mean, that's still a big part of it, but there's a lot more weight on how do I feel? How is this fulfilling my purpose? How is it for my team? How do they feel? Are they happy? What do they want to do? Can I help them better themselves professionally and personally? And same with my clients. So it's a lot the idea of success has shifted a lot more on the relationships, building really quality good relationships. Because if we have an apocalypse, like I think about all this stuff that's happening in Texas, what's left if something catastrophic like what's happened in Texas happens? It's the relationships that you have with people and the money. You can get buried with a casket full of money, but it's not going to do you any good. So success is definitely more about building healthy, strong, authentic relationships, and having some good financial flow is a bonus on top of that.
Yeah, and that's a common thread, right? Because even at the beginning, and I think this is true for a lot of women, you start into accounting. A lot of people go into accounting because of the financial aspect of it. I can be successful, I can make good money, all of that. But I mean, then there's a shift from, wait a minute, like my family and those relationships. And now, even with your own firm, it starts off again from that financial perspective, but then shifts again. I agree with you totally, to then the relationships. And those really, like, we don't think about it, but focusing on the relationships in an accounting practice, it then just feeds back to that financial side. You know what I mean? Like, people are people everywhere and they want those relationships. We are meant to connect and we crave that. No, even if you're an accountant and you think you don't, and you like just sitting in your little cubicle and being by yourself, like, we crave connection, true, authentic connection. And so that helps then attract the right clients and the right employees and all of that you need to build that successful firm.
Yes, absolutely. That was very well said.
Thank you. So what systems or habits have helped you stay sane while running your business and managing life?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that one out myself. No, I mean, there are some things that are like deal breakers. I got to do this. And one of them is my, like 20-minute quiet time meditation. Don't talk to me during this time. And I don't get it every day, and I can definitely tell the days when I don't get it. I get a lot crabbier. So I found that is an absolute deal breaker for me. Who I am and who I'm, hardwired to be, as much as I try to fight it sometimes, because I try to fight just push, 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 go, go, go. That doesn't work for me. I have to have my time at least a little bit every day where I'm not answering kids, I'm not answering clients, I don't have all the stimulation coming in at me. Right now it's wonderful because it's summer in North Dakota, so I just go outside in the backyard and sit in the grass and leave Nikki alone while we're out there for 20 minutes. Wintertime gets a little harder, but it's also more peaceful because it's really quiet in the night when there's snow and there's just like nothing that you hear. So that's awesome. So one of the biggest habits for me has really been just taking that downtime. Even if it's the heart of tax season and I'm like, I have 50 taxes that are due and blah. It helps me get more done when I take that time for myself. So that's been a hard thing to do, but one of the most impactful things that I could probably ever really do is just take that time for myself, just to slow down once a day. And then monitoring all kinds of tech monitoring, like how do I know what my team's doing when they're when we're all working virtually. So finding unique pieces of software that I can feel like I have a handle on and I have good control and I know what people are doing. That's been a pretty huge thing too. So our workflow system that we use has this monitoring system built in to where I can hop on and be like, okay, so and so's working, so and so's not working. And then we've built in some daily thing requirements from our team on our Slack channel that they have to, state some certain things when they log in, state some certain things when they log out. So we kind of have a daily pulse of what everybody's doing and what they've been accomplishing. So we put some systems in place and use technology to our advantage to try to create that office environment, even though we're all in a virtual space.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's very important. I think, again, going back to relationships and connection, making sure that they are where they're supposed to be, but also having those systems in place that you can connect and feel connected, even though you don't have the watering, what's it called?
Water cooler. The water
Yes,
cooler talk.
watering hole came to mind. I don't know.
See?
Africa, Lion King, whatever. We all gather at the watering
Same
hole.
thing,
Yes.
right? Same thing.
Yes. Have there been any pivotal moments or realizations that changed the way that you show up in your work?
A lot, probably more than I can recall off the top of my head. But the last 2 years, I've done an acquisition for the last 2 years, and those have definitely given me some eye-opening life lessons in that no matter how prepared I thought I was, first one was just kind of a giant poop show because I wasn't very prepared at all. And I really just jumped into it. The second one, I prepared my butt off. I spent, 4 to 5 months beforehand putting all these systems and processes in place and, dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's on the agreements. I'm like, yeah, this one's going to be so awesome. Well, it went nothing as planned. And so one of the biggest things I think is learning to be like, okay, I had this plan, it didn't work out. How do I course correct to get us back on track? And how do I navigate when you're in the heart of just like the craziness? Because I stupidly made 2 acquisitions at the beginning of the year, even though I said I was never going to do that again. Like first one happened in January, and I'm like, nope, never doing that again. Second one happened in January also. What the hell was I thinking? But um learning how to not get so hard on yourself in the moment and just be like, hey, this is where we're at. Now we have to, readjust what we're doing and how we're navigating this world to get back to where we kind of want to be. Right? If you get way off track, you got to course correct to get back and be okay with it might not look the exact same as you originally planned. Right? Like, and that's okay.
Yes. That's the definition of entrepreneurship right there. It's not
Yeah.
going to go the way you planned.
Oh,
Period.
never. No matter how well prepared you are, it will never go as planned. And it's funny too, because like we have this taco shop. My husband left his almost 20-year career of teaching to buy this restaurant last summer. And he had always had a side hustle going. So he had a little taste of entrepreneurship, but it wasn't until he was kind of like fully thrown into the whole mix of now this is your main thing. this is now your thing. It's been eye-opening for me to be his spouse, watching him go through this transition of like this fresh new entrepreneur through all the same hurdles and struggles and challenges that I had in the first few years of my business. And watching that happen in real time. Of course, he doesn't take my advice in real time always, but that's how we learn, right? I never took people's advice in real time either. I had to learn my lesson the hard way. And then I'm like, "God, if
Exactly.
only I would have listened." But that's how it sticks, right? Is you got to go through the life lesson. And then you're like, "Oh yeah, they knew what they were talking about. I'm gonna listen to them next time."
So
So
true.
it's been eye-opening
Yeah.
watching it from a third-party perspective now, but it's also been very helpful because now I'm like, okay, he's got X, Y, and Z for questions. He doesn't quite understand this, this, and this. And so it's really helped me Because sometimes as you just move in and you like it's old hat for me, right? Being an entrepreneur, I forget some of those struggles that happened in the beginning and some of the challenges that I had to overcome. And so I take that for granted, but watching him go through it and seeing it from like, front row, now I better understand, and I'm reacquainted with some of my new entrepreneurs as clients too, and I can better maybe describe or help them understand things in their own business from a little bit different perspective, because now I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Don't take the mindset of Nikki, the old hat entrepreneur CPA that knows what she's doing right now. Step back into Nikki 10 years ago. Like who was I 10 years ago? I was in the same mess. How would I, if I were to go back, redo that? How could I save somebody else, pain and sorrow and challenges from some of the things that I've learned? And so it's allowed me to be able to reconnect, I guess, a little bit more deep with some of my clients who are probably in the same boat as Tom is right now as a new entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think that's a huge lesson to take from that. And it's interesting because I think when you're younger and dumber, or at least I was, you
Mhm.
think that you hear something, you learn it, and then you just got it for the rest of your life. And that's just not how it works. Like you can hear the same thing every 10 years and get a different piece from it because you've had different experiences and things have evolved and you've forgotten some struggles and it just helps remind you. So that's a beautiful point there for sure.
Yes, it does.
So, one thing that we talk a lot about at CPA Moms is work life harmony. What does work life harmony mean to you today?
Today definitely means something different than it did 10 years ago, I'll tell you that. Um, but today, it means really finding that, and this is going to be different for everyone, but really truly finding that balance, where the scales go like this. Like I love what I do in my work, but I find that if I immerse myself in only my work, like I do when we're in tax season, that now the family side of things goes down. My kids start to act out more because they want more of my attention. Um, I don't feel as good because I'm not getting my family love every day. I'm just stuck on the computer working away. And although I can get lost in those, deep work times and I get a lot work-wise done, I still don't feel the greatest that I can every day because the scale is tipped thin. It's too much work versus not enough family. So I find that I have to really be cognizant and be very aware of the amount of time every single day, no matter what season we're in, where I get a little bit of family time, whether that's 20 minutes sitting down and playing a video game with my boys, or going out in the backyard and kicking soccer balls, or going on a walk together, with the, okay, I'm gonna go get in my deep work time and get my mental stimulation going. So I sometimes have to force myself, I have to put it on my calendar, because if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Go, like, take a break, go take the kids, go do something. Build in those date nights with my husband, especially now that we're both entrepreneurs. We literally have to like schedule those things out, otherwise we're never gonna see each other. And I found that I have to just make time for it. As busy as I can tell myself that I get sometimes, it doesn't help me if I don't force myself to take a break and go spend time with my friends and my family. So I have definitely learned over the last 10 years the value of slowing down and the value of balance, because I'm kind of a workaholic. I'd sit and work all the time because I enjoy what I do, and I like building things and creating things and helping people, but it drains me after a while. So I have to fill my battery back up by going and getting some love from my family, right? And my friends, and letting, one of the best things is going out to coffee with my girlfriends and then just letting the words, just offloading all that stuff that builds up, right? That's one of the most therapeutic things that I think I've ever encountered, is just, we call them the bitch sessions.
Yes.
And they're very healthy. for me anyway, to offload all the stuff onto my friends, and they get their chance to offload, and it's kind of a fun thing that we've kind of developed over the years is let's go have our coffee bitch sessions and we'll all feel better afterwards.
Yes, for sure. Yes, scheduling the big rocks, as
Yeah.
I say, so important. All right, so thank you so much for being here. This has been a lot of fun. I've loved hearing your journey. Let's finish with what is one thing that you believe every woman in accounting needs to hear or remember?
Ooh. Well, thank you for having me too, by the way. I enjoyed the conversation. It's nice to see you again. It's been several years now.
Yes.
Um, and that is a very big question to end on. Um, but I think that, women in accounting specifically, what we need to know is we do need to just kind of really grab hold of the fact that we are smart, we are confident, we are brave, and we have accomplished so much in our lives already. Many of us are probably mothers and sisters and friends, and we wear all these different hats and we juggle all of these different things from a day-to-day perspective, and we forget to give ourselves credit for all of the stuff that we do and carry each and every day. And so I'd say the biggest thing for women in the accounting world to remember is that you're already crushing it, right? You're already doing far more than most people. And so you already got this. And if you don't feel that way, then just go ask one of your friends. And I'm sure they'll tell you that you already got this and that you're already killing it and that you can do anything you set your mind to because you've already accomplished so much in life already. And to remember to give yourself a pat on the back and to reflect on some of those things, because we all kind of, I think, get caught in the keeping up constant hustle and bustle. We got to keep going and going and going, and we forget to reflect on what we've actually done and what we've actually accomplished. And when we sit down and see all those things that we've done and accomplished, then we're like, holy, we are pretty awesome and we do got this. And that's what I would leave people with is take some time to reflect on all the things that you've accomplished so far and everything that you've done. And I think you'll be surprised at how much you really have achieved, and the ability to be able to go out and achieve more is already there within you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yes.
That's it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. Ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women? Join our CPA Moms Facebook community. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We can't wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.